Welcome back to Old School Sports and our Out of the Park Baseball 26 series, Rescue the Rockies. And we are at the 2032 All-Star break. Our Rockies at 66-30 have the best record in baseball as we attempt to repeat the Rockies' first championship ever from 2031. We do have about $3 million available to hopefully bring on some help. Don't have a ton of weaknesses with this team, as you'd expect with a 66-30 record. But as we think broadly about where we could potentially use some help, wouldn't mind adding another arm in the bullpen. And I wouldn't mind an upgrade at backup catcher. But other than that, don't see any glaring holes on the team. Certainly not everyone is performing up to expectations, but feel pretty good about how the team has performed over the first 96 games of the season. Have spent some time since the last episode visiting the trade block and who's available and the prices we'd have to pay. And doesn't seem like there's anything particularly compelling to do. We do have just about 2 weeks until we get to the trade deadline, however, so we're going to continue investigating our options as we head towards the trade deadline. As I noted, we're breaking for the All-Star break for the next 4 days. Then we've got 3 games at Cincinnati, 3 games at Atlanta, and 3 games in Queens against the Mets before we get to the end of this month of July, when the calendar flips to August. 1 more game, finishing up that 10-game road trip on the road, and then we will fortunately be back home for our first games after the All-Star break at home. And since we're just past the midway point of the season, I figured we'd check in on a few of our former players, see how they've been doing in the months, or in some cases years, since they moved on from us. Dial Amador was a free agent this past off season, given that he was coming off of an off year, looking for pretty big money and fragile physically. We didn't end up pursuing him. Ended up signing 3 years, $32.1 million for the Yankees, which is certainly less than what his quoted price was. Hitting .241 for the Yankees. Does have 13 homers and 307 at-bats, though, so he's been a slightly above-average offensive player this year, putting up a 1.6 WAR for the Yankees midway through the season, a year after having a WAR of less than 1 for our Colorado Rockies in 2031. Charlie Condon was one of the top prospects in the Rockies organization when we took this team over in the early stages of the 2025 season. Finally moved on from him after this past year. He never had a big-time performance with us. Traded him to the Angels as part of that big trade that ended up landing us Dylan Jordan, who's having a really nice year for us. Condon struggling with the Angels, similar to the way he struggled with us over the years. .212 average with 5 home runs and 151 at-bats. Struck out 41 times and putting up just a 66 WRC+. Condon kind of peaked with us in 2029 when he did have 22 home runs, but even then only an 88 WRC+ for us. He's been a below-average offensive player every year of his career, and he's actually been a below-replacement level player for the course of his career. The last position player is one who's been gone for a few years now, Brenton Doyle, who signed after the 2029 season with the Astros, making $13.7 million. Still has 1 year left after this one. He has certainly struggled offensively the last 2.5 years in Houston, with WRC pluses in the 60s every year. Has been an above average or above replacement level player overall, at least according to WAR, as his defense remains very strong and he's still a proficient base runner. but the bat for Mr. Doyle probably not quite living up to a price tag of almost $14 million a season. And we'll check in on a few of our former pitchers as well. Ryan Kerkering is a guy who was with us relatively briefly, just one season, but he had a big impact as a stopper for us 2 years ago. Led the National League with 79 wins or 79 games. 79 wins would definitely be a record. 79 games, 33 holds. Put up a 3.27 ERA for us over 113 innings. Signed a big free agent contract with Detroit, where he has been a very good pitcher the last 2 years, a sub-2 ERA and a 2.7 WAR. So he has remained a very effective pitcher out of the bullpen, but $17 million a year for a reliever is definitely a price tag that is tricky for any team, particularly our Rockies, to pull off. Jesus Luzardo was our ace for several years. He was a pretty big acquisition for us in the relatively early stages of this playthrough. After a year and a half at GM, we signed him to a 6-year, $84 million deal. And he was one of our top pitchers, and in fact our ace for much of the time that he was with us. Had some injury issues and a very ineffective season last year, and we ended up moving on from him after declining the final year of his team option. He has bounced back nicely with the Cubs this year, a 6-2 record with a 2.42 ERA over 85 2/3 innings, and he's put up a WAR of close to 2 for the Cubs. So nice to see Luzardo in his mid-30s having a bounce-back season that indicates his career is definitely not over. Ryan Walker was our closer for the better parts of his 3 seasons with us in Colorado. He's actually in the minor leagues this year. Salt Lake with the Angels organization, spent the last 2 years with the A's since he left our team. Didn't pick up a save in either of those seasons. Had an ERA in the mid-4s over his 2 seasons. So Walker, who is now in his mid-30s, certainly had some of the best success in his career with his 3 years in Colorado, although he was obviously a pretty big-time pitcher at the end of his run in San Francisco as well. And Fenway Park hosting the All-Star Game here in 2032, and the traitorous Aaron Judge, who left the New York Yankees to sign a massive 3-year deal with the Boston Red Sox this past offseason, won the home run challenge at the age of 40. Judge having a very good year with Boston, 30 homers and 72 ribbies, although the batting average has dipped to 238. And coming out of the All-Star break, we won 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati, although a 10-9 loss on the final game of the series as we went for the sweep. 6 games left now in the month of July, and 6 games left until we get to the trade deadline. Still haven't found anything particularly interesting or compelling to do, but we will continue to investigate our options, given that we are definitely a win-now team. And unfortunately, we lost 2 out of 3 in Atlanta after taking the first game of that series. So 3 games left now until the All-Star break. Our lead over the Dodgers now is only 12.5, so we're still in pretty good shape when we think about the National League at large. Our 69-33 record is 11 better than the Brewers for the best record in the National League. The surging Tigers have won 4 in a row. That said, they're still 5.5 games behind us in the race for the best record in all of baseball. And we did fortunately win the first 2 games of our series at Citi Field against the Mets. So a 71-33 record as we head into trade deadline day. The lead on the Dodgers is 13.5. Kevin Roberts continues to lead the league in home runs and runs batted in. Dylan Jordan and Noah Schultz remain first and third in ERA, first and second in wins, Schultz second in strikeouts, and Schultz and now Leo Martinez are second and third in the National League in pitcher WAR. So the top three starters on our team, Noah Schultz, Leo Martinez, and Dylan Jordan, continue to have very strong seasons for our Rockies. Haven't found any real trades to consider yet. Going to spend some more time offline investigating whether there's any options, but it's seemingly increasingly likely that there's not going to be a big revolutionary move by the Rockies at this trade deadline. In theory, everyone is chasing us, so if we can't find a trade that makes sense for us, we may just run the rest of this season with who we've already brung. And I just don't think there's really any trades for us to make. Would love to add a reliever. There's just not anyone impactful enough that's available for anything approaching a reasonable price. And as I noted, I wouldn't mind adding a backup catcher to give us a little better insurance if Drew Romo were to get hurt. Honestly, probably about to promote Mike Girard, former first-round pick 3 years ago, to Double-A. He's been a league average offensive player this year in High A Spokane. Obviously ready defensively to be a big contributor. I think if we had a major injury at catcher, it's not inconceivable that we'd bring Girard up to the majors to at least get the defense that we think he offers, even though at this point his hitting is not ideal. Hope that it doesn't come down to that, but with the catchers who are either available on the free agent market or in trade, there's just no one who's really a huge upgrade from our current catcher, or our current backup catcher, Chris Boone. Boone hitting .212 this year, 62 WRC plus in his first taste of major league action as our backup catcher. He's solid defensively. Don't know that we want him playing every day if we happen to have an injury to Romo. But if that unfortunate event does occur, I think we'd probably go with Boone and Girard as our catchers, and just hope that the solid defense that Boone brings and the even better potential defense that Girard brings makes up for what would likely be a bit of a black hole in terms of the offensive production. And we're now past the trade deadline. Lost the final game of the month to the Mets, but did take 2 out of 3 series on the road, winning 2 out of 3 in both Cincinnati and New York, and then losing that series to Atlanta. Although I guess technically we've still got 1 game left in that Mets series. So if we win today, we'll actually take the series. If we lose today, we'll end up being a split. Taking a look at our team statistics, 71-34 record, 3 games above Pythagorean expectations. We've gone exactly 16-10 in both June and July, each of the last 2 months, with a .615 winning percentage, which is actually down significantly from where we were in April and May. That said, still a very good combination, the second best offense in the National League, and number 1 pitching staff in terms of runs allowed, starters, ERA. Not surprisingly, with the big 3 at the top of the rotation, remains the best in the senior circuit. And with no trades at the trade deadline, basically the big question for our Rockies over these final 2 months of the season is whether we can stay healthy. Right now, the only injuries are Ian Miller and Dave Seibrecht, who both went out during spring training for the season, essentially. So we've expected to be without them. We've planned for a team without them this year, even though we didn't end up making any trades. So if we can remain healthy, feel pretty confident that we will hold on to the best record in baseball, win another NL West title, return to the playoffs, and be certainly among the favorites, if not the favorite, when the postseason begins in our quest to repeat. But obviously there's still about a third of the season ahead of us for us to try to remain healthy and effective. Looking forward to this upcoming month of August, and then certainly September roster expansion, when we'll get to hopefully take a little bit of pressure off of the 26 guys on the roster by expanding with several more players. After we finish off the series against the Mets, we'll be home for a week, 4 games against the Reds and 3 against the Astros, and then back on the road, 2 at Seattle and 4 at the Giants before we get to mid-August. And with the trade deadline passed, and with the minor league seasons either ending or coming to an end over the next month and a half, usually start rescouting our minor league system, starting with our international complex and an interesting player down there at the age of 19 who we haven't promoted yet, who is scouting discovery from a little over 2 years ago. Masanori Murakami. If you're not familiar with that name, I believe that the first Japanese player ever in Major League Baseball, this is going back, probably 80 years or so at this point. Probably not quite 80 years, more like 70, 75 years. Masanori Murakami was the first Japanese player in American Major League Baseball, and apparently we may have a great grandchild of his or something in our minor league organization. Unfortunately, it looks like his chances of making it to the majors with that low work ethic and a very low floor and low ceiling are almost impossible. And after dropping the final game in New York to split that series with the Mets 2-2, after taking a 2-0 lead, we swept 4 games against Cincinnati and 4 consecutive one-run victories. So a very nice stretch to begin the homestand for our Rockies. Unfortunately, as you'd expect in the first week after the trade deadline, a pretty significant issue. Reliever Drew Summers, the left-hander, torn triceps, happened a couple of days ago. Just got the official evaluation that he is out for the year with 3 to 4 months of recovery time ahead of him. Left-hander had a really nice year for us this year, 2.68 earned run average over 37 innings pitched. Did give up 5 home runs and was actually slightly below replacement level. As I look a little closer in the numbers, his SIERA was more than 2 runs higher than his ERA. And although he had that great ERA plus, his FIP minus was 114. But still a useful, proven major league left-hander who we are now without for the rest of this season. And with the injury to Summers, we'll bring back James Embry, former second-round pick, who was with us, I think, on a couple occasions this year. Hasn't pitched all that much, but did put up a sub-5 ERA. Not a big-time prospect. Our pitching depth is definitely not great in the bullpen at this point. Hopefully when we go down to 12 pitchers for the playoffs, that will help a bit with the extra off days that are involved. And we won't be using the guys who are our weakest relievers much or at all in the postseason, but certainly particularly injuries to Miller and Summers are going to have an impact on us come playoff time. To be fair, the Rule 5 acquisition was unlikely to end up on the postseason roster, so I can't really complain about that injury as much come playoff time. And as August continues, the team playing really well. We took 2 out of 3 against Houston at home. Then we split a series in Seattle, 1 game apiece, before taking 4 in a row in San Francisco. back at home yesterday, we won against San Diego. So as we sit here on August 17th, playing real good baseball right now, we've opened up now an 18-game lead on the Dodgers in the division. Clearly still have the best record in baseball after winning 6 in a row. Milwaukee remains the closest team to us in the Central Division standings, but they are in the National League standings, but they're 17 games behind us for the best record in the National League. Detroit remains the best team in the American League, but they're 11 and a half games behind us for the best record in baseball. So very well positioned at this point with a month and a half left in the season to have the best record in baseball and home field advantage for a third straight year. Kevin Roberts, with 37 homers and 94 ribbies, continues in his quest to lead the league in homers and ribbies. Noah Schultz now second in the league in ERA. Jordan and Schultz 1-2 in wins. Schultz second in strikeouts. Wellington Herrera now third in the league in saves. And Leo Martinez and Noah Schultz tied for second in the league in pitcher WAR with 4.7 wins above replacement as we sit here in mid-August. And as we head towards the end of the month of August and September roster expansion, the team playing incredibly well. We did lose the final 2 games at home against the Padres, but since then we have gone undefeated, taken 3 out of 3 on the road at the A's, winning 3 at home against Pittsburgh, and then most recently winning 3 at home against the Diamondbacks. So 9 consecutive victories for our Colorado Rockies here in a very strong month of August for us. Taking a look at the standings, expanded the lead on the Dodgers to 19.5 games, winning percentage back over 700 on the season at 92-39. Our magic number for the division down to just 13 games here with 1 game left in the month of August. Kevin Roberts Jr. continuing to lead the league in homers and ribbies, now third in the league in OPS. Noah Schultz and Leo Martinez now are 1-3 in the league in ERA in a very tight battle there. Dylan Jordan and Schultz tied for the league lead in wins. Schultz second in strikeouts. Wellington Herrera still third in saves. And the surging Leo Martinez now leading the National League in pitcher WAR, while Schultz is third in the league at 4.9. So the rotation, the top end of it with those top 3 starters, Schultz, Martinez, and Jordan, remains very strong and very intimidating. If those guys remain healthy, really like our chances. Not surprisingly, with his strong season, Kevin Roberts Jr. just named Player of the Week, 10 for 22 with 3 homers and 10 ribbies for our outstanding young outfielder. And we won our final game of the month of August against the Angels 4-1. Kevin Roberts Jr. not just was the player of the week last week, but the player of the month for August, 337 average, 8 homers, 22 ribbies. Interestingly, Leo Martinez, the young starter who, similar to Roberts, we signed to a long extension, was the National League pitcher of the month for August, 4-0 record with 36 strikeouts and 36 2/3 innings and a 1.23 ERA, as he's making a late push to be a very strong Cy Young Award contender with a couple of his teammates. And our 4A quality pitching depth, perhaps not as strong as it's been in the past, and no real big-time pitching prospects ready to contribute at the major league level. So only going to bring up one pitcher here at the September trade deadline, a familiar name for those of you who have followed us since the beginning of this series. Second-round pick of ours in 2025, Jack Bauer with the nickname 24. Although, unfortunately, the number is not available for him at the major league level, and he's not deserving of taking it at this point. 2-3 with an ERA of close to 7 in AAA Albuquerque, where he spent the majority of the last few seasons. Don't view him as a big-time prospect. More gives us an opportunity to at least say that second-round pick of ours made it to the major leagues, kind of similar to the situation with James Embry, who was our second-round pick 3 years after Bauer. Position player-wise, no surprises, I think, with the players that are called back up. Rosnal DePaula, who was up with us earlier this year and very productive, is back. Cole Carrig, who spent the entire year in Albuquerque, back. And then Christian Arguelles back also. He has spent most of the year in AAA, and he's on a bit of a cold streak right now. But give us a little more depth as we head into this final month of the season. Taking a look at our very impressive team statistics, the 93-39 record is 6 games above Pythagorean expectations. The one-run record is now a ridiculous 24-12, driven in part by that great month of August when we were 22-5. So by far our best month of the season with an .815 winning percentage, 2 more wins than we had in our outstanding month of April. We've won 10 games in a row right now, second in the National League in runs scored, and we're in the top 4 in every primary offensive category except for strikeouts, where we're 7th, and stolen bases, where we're 5th. The pitching staff completely dominant, first in the National League in runs allowed, and we are first or second in the vast majority of offensive categories. Defensive efficiency and zone rating, middling zone rating, and defensive efficiency still in the lower third of the league, unfortunately. Hopefully, with a few additional players on the roster, we'll have some more opportunities to swap some things and get defensive substitutions in there. We are also going to put Rosnal DePaula in as our starting third baseman for Colt Keith, do a true platoon matchup there at third base. Keith has not been particularly effective against left-handed pitching this year, and DePaula will get an opportunity to play third for us against lefties over this final month of the season. And if you're wondering about one of the top prospects in our organization who we kind of thought would be perhaps making a major league debut this September, we're going to hold off on Dervi Mahez. Certainly the glove is more than ready for the majors. The bat looks very borderline at this point with a 93-39 record. We don't really need much help. He has had a nice debut in AAA for us this year, hitting .311 in 164 at-bats. So he's been productive there, just like he was in AA. We have looked into an extension for Mahez, and he's looking for big-time money, perhaps not surprisingly. So really no rush to get his major league service time ticking away, given that he's looking for big time money for an extension. Would think that Mahez will be a very strong candidate to make the 26-man roster out of spring training next year, particularly if we're able to have a good offensive result with him in the development lab, and maybe he continues to make some progress over the last weeks of the season in AAA. And although I mentioned we didn't have any major league prime prospects in AAA for us, but we do have a couple that we just promoted there. Kevin Canty is a 20th round pick from 2027 who's developed reasonably well. I think he can have potentially nasty stuff at the major league level, although the control is a potential issue. He was 6-7 with a 5.38 ERA at AA Hartford this year, but did have a 2.1 WAR and a strong 2.70 Sierra with a solid 91 FIP minus. So we're going to see what he can do at the major league or at the AAA level for us, with a couple of starts likely before the season ends there. And for those of you who are wondering, we also just promoted Brian Stoops, our first round pick last year, the number 46 prospect in baseball, to AAA as well. Another guy who could be helping us in the not too distant future. He was 2-4 with a 3.45 ERA in 9 starts in high A ball. We promoted him to AA a couple of months ago, where he went 9-2 with a 3.38 ERA, almost 10 strikeouts per 9 innings, 2.6 WAR. Really good numbers in the Eastern League for him. And we'll see what he can do in hopefully a couple of starts in AAA for us before he could be potentially competing for a spot on our pitching staff next year, particularly if any of those significant injuries take longer to recover from. And we dropped the final game of our series against the Angels, ending that 10-game winning streak. Lost the first game at home against the Dodgers, but then took 3 straight against them to take 3 out of 4 in a big series. While doing that, yesterday we clinched a playoff appearance for our Rockies in very unsurprising news. The magic number in the division is down to a very manageable 4, as we will be clinching the National League West very shortly, and likely clinching the best record in baseball in the next couple of weeks. Ryan Stone, monster week for us, 8 for 12 with 3 homers and 7 ribbies. And when we look at the weekly power rankings, we are far and away the best team in baseball. And unsurprisingly, after winning against San Francisco yesterday, our Rockies are National League West Division title winners for the 3rd consecutive season. 4th time in this playthrough, 4th time in Colorado Rockies history. The record stands at 142 right now, so 20 games to go on the season, and we have an opportunity to put up a very big win number this year. Right now it says no doubt we will be considered front runners to win a second World Series. Still trying to lock up the best record in baseball. That and staying healthy are really the only goals that we have left. We've already clinched the best record in the National League at this point, since the Dodgers do have the second best record in the league, and we just clinched the division. Looking over at the American League, the Tigers still have the best record there at 84-59. But that record is, if I can do some simple math, 16 and a half games behind us. So I would imagine that over the next week or so, we will clinch the best record in baseball. Roberts Jr. still on pace to lead the league in homers and runs batted in. And Martinez, Schultz, and Jordan are all over the leaderboards as far as starting pitchers. Wellington Herrera, now second in the league in saves, could get past Joan Duran, potentially, of the Dodgers, if he has a strong last few weeks of the season. And despite that outstanding performance, our fan interest has actually dipped a point. So not sure what we need to do to keep the fans entertained. Perhaps we're winning too easily at this point, but believe we were up to 91 a few months ago, and we were 90 certainly. I know that at the start of this episode. So the fans somehow a little less interested in us, but we have been picking the ticket prices up tiny bit by tiny bit and continue to selling out as we try to generate as much revenue as possible here to hopefully position ourselves for some financial success going forward, which hopefully will make it easier to continue having success on the field. And since the last time we checked in, we won the rubber game of the series on the road in San Francisco. Continue a relatively long road trip with 3 at St. Louis and then 4 at Pittsburgh before we come back home to face the Giants and the Diamondbacks. Presumably, we will have clinched the best record in baseball by then. But there are some truths to out-of-the-park baseball, just like we learned from Leo Getz in Lethal Weapon 2 many years ago, that they blank you at the drive-thru. In OOTP, they blank you in September. And a very major injury, Gus Nieves, broken kneecap here in mid-September, so we lose the second most important bat in our lineup, behind only Kevin Roberts Jr., and historically, until Roberts' breakout this year, the most important bat in our lineup. Nieves, with a broken kneecap, going to finish the season with a .269 average, 33 homers, and 91 ribbies. Also scored 89 runs, put up a .905 OPS and a .136 WRC+. Will definitely be a test of our outfield depth to be without Nieves. Outfield probably is the deepest position we have at the major league level, but certainly not going to have someone of Gus Nieves' quality replacing him in the lineup. So kind of felt at the start of the episode that it was just a matter of time until a major injury hit us, and certainly has right now. The loss of Nieves will definitely decrease our chances of being able to get a repeat, but it is what it is, and we'll do our best to adapt over these last few weeks of the regular season and hopefully long into the postseason. And with that major injury to Nieves, we lose our cleanup hitter against both right and left-handed pitching, which is not optimal. Colt Keith slides into the cleanup role against righties. Matt McElroy slides into the cleanup role against lefties. Christian Arguelles will go into the lineup and play left field for us, which does let us move Ted Miller to DH to strengthen our outfield defense. Against left-handed pitching, with the injury to Nieves, we called up a right-handed hitting outfielder, Sam Gray, third-round pick from 2027. Hit .264 for us this year in AAA. Did have 31 doubles, 9 triples, 9 home runs, and 15 stolen bases. Not a great power hitter, but pretty good gap power. Only a 71 WRC plus, though, in AAA. But we are light on right-handed batters, and he looks like he can hopefully hold his own against left-handed pitching for us. So he's going to go into the lineup as our designated hitter and number 8 hitter against left-handed pitching for the remainder of the season. And even without Pex Nieves, we continue to play well. Swept 3 in St. Louis. We split the first 2 in Pittsburgh. Bit of more scary news, but hopefully it's going to not be all that significant. Noah Schultz has a tired arm, going to be day-to-day for about 4 days. Obviously, we're going to give him some rest, push it back his next start, substantial impact on his throwing, and we certainly don't want that to turn into something more significant. Schultz 17-1 on the season with a 2.50 ERA, and is among several strong candidates we have for the Cy Young Award. And for these last couple weeks of the season, we're actually going to stretch things out with a 6-man rotation. Kumar Rocker, who we signed to a minor league contract this year after he was our number 5 starter a year ago, has been very effective for us out of the pen. 4-0 record with the sub-3 ERA. He'll probably make the postseason roster due to the injuries we have as a long reliever, but give him an opportunity to get a couple starts as he tries to market himself for a bigger contract this upcoming offseason, and also hopefully will help limit the wear and tear on our top four starters a bit. Schultz, Martinez, Jordan, and Painter will certainly be our four starters for the postseason if they all remain healthy. And another monster week for Ryan Stone, player of the week once again, 11 for 30 with 2 homers, 6 ribbies, and 8 runs scored. We pushed our record now to 106 and 44. Taking a look at the standings, that means we've got 12 games left on the season, and we look to be 18 games up on the Tigers for the best record in baseball. So we have clinched home field advantage throughout the playoffs. At this point, just hoping for no more significant injuries. Roberts Jr. obviously going to lead the league in home runs. I guess there's a chance he might not lead the league in ribbies, but certainly the favorite with a 7 run batted in the league over Jose Villarreal with 12 games to go. Martinez and Schultz are 1-2 in the ERA race. Schultz, Jordan, and Martinez are 1, 2, 3 respectively in wins. Schultz second in the league in strikeouts. Wellington Herrera now third in saves. And Leo Martinez and Noah Schultz are second and third in the league in pitcher WAR as we head into the final weeks of this season. 3 at home against San Francisco, 3 at home against Arizona. Then we will go on the road for 3 against the Dodgers. And we will finish up the season with the final 3 games of the season on the road in early October at San Diego. So 4 series left in the season, 3 games each against all of our divisional rivals. And we mentioned at the start of the episode the nice bounce-back year that our former ace Jesus Luzardo had for the Cubs. Unfortunately, a torn flexor tendon in his elbow is going to cost him the rest of this year and likely most of next year. Luzardo finished the year 10-5 with a 3.37 ERA for the Cubs, so unfortunate news for him. Fortunately for us, looks like Schultz is healthy now. We've sat him out for these last 4 days. Hopefully he'll be able to get another tune-up game or 2 before we prepare for the postseason. 107 and 45 record, so still a chance to put up a very big win number. We've already won more games than any team in Rockies history at this point. So every time we go out there, we're setting a new record for Rockies wins when we win a game. And a nice final homestand for the Rockies in this 2032 season. Won 2 out of 3 against San Francisco. Then we swept the 3 games against the Diamondbacks. So on the road for the final 6 games of the year against the Dodgers and the Padres with 111 wins. So in a best case scenario, we can get to 117. So if we can go 6-0, we will pass the 1906 Cubs and the 2001 Seattle Mariners with 117 wins. Both of those teams, of course, had 116. The Cubs and some other teams from earlier eras will definitely have a higher winning percentage than us, even if we win out the rest of the way. But we've got a little bit to play for over this final week of the season, although certainly our primary objective is to remain healthy. And we won our first game against the Dodgers, but lost 1-0 yesterday. So the dream of 117 wins is over. Fortunately, that was Schultz's last game of the year. Took just his second loss of the season, but gave us 100 pitches, 4 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 1 earned run in what will be his final start. So he gets some time now to rest for the postseason. If we win these final 4, we will tie the Cubs and the Mariners for the most wins in a major league regular season. And we did win the final game against the Dodgers to push our record to 113-46. If we can sweep San Diego on the road, we will tie the Cubs and the Mariners with 116 wins. Closer, Wellington Herrera just was named the National League Pitcher of the Month. 11 2/3 innings, 2-0 record with 6 saves, did not allow an earned run. And we did win the first game against San Diego, but unfortunately another late season injury, this one an October injury. Luke Little, the outstanding left-handed reliever, elbow inflammation, out for 6 weeks, which will certainly cost him the postseason. 6-1 record with a save this year, a 2.44 ERA over 55 1/3 innings pitched. So losing both Summers and Little recently will definitely limit the left-handed options we have out of the bullpen for the postseason. And we did end up winning the final 3 games of the year at the Padres, so 116-46 record, joining the Chicago Cubs of 06 and the Seattle Mariners of 01, 1906 and 2001, respectively, with our 2032 Colorado Rockies with 116 victories. So feeling very good about the regular season. Obviously, Kevin Roberts Jr. ended up easily leading the league in ribbies, 51 homers and 130 ribbies, so he was very strong over the final couple weeks of the season, third in the league in OPS. Noah Schultz wins the ERA crown. Jordan, Schultz, and Martinez 1, 2, 3 in the league in wins. Schultz third in strikeouts. Wellington Herrera second in saves. And Leo Martinez and Noah Schultz second and third in the league in pitcher WAR. So a fantastic season for our Colorado Rockies. Taking a look at the final team statistics on the year, 20-7 record in September and 3-0 in October. So we have been playing incredible baseball for the last couple of months. Ended up with the best offense in the National League, 878 runs scored, and the best pitching staff as well, 577 runs allowed. You can see we were first or second in every primary pitching category. Ended up with a middle-of-the-road defense, 6th in defensive efficiency, and 7th in zone rating. The offense also very strong, top 4 in the National League in all primary offensive categories except for strikeouts and stolen bases, where we were still a respectable 6th. So we're feeling great about the regular season and certainly feel like we should be favored in the playoffs, but the injuries have not been kind to us recently. As we talked about at the start of the episode, we knew we were going to be without Ian Miller and the Rule 5 acquisition, Dave Seibrecht, for the season. Since then, we've lost the lefty relievers Luke Little and Drew Summers, and our cleanup hitter, Gus Nieves, for the playoffs. So definitely a tough situation for us injury-wise. Drew Romo, you see him in the orange color there, but day-to-day for 1 day with a bruised knee, so that should not become a major issue. We've got a lot of options out there as far as figuring out what our postseason roster will be. Certainly think we're well-positioned for a repeat, but would love to have 3 or 4 of these guys who are on the injured list on our playoff roster, and unfortunately that will not be the case here in 2032. And with that, we'll call it an episode and look forward to the upcoming playoffs when we find out whether we can repeat with this mighty 116-win Colorado Rockies team. Until then, thanks so much for watching, and hope you have a great day.